there's a law that the United States government made just recently, June 1st, in which they say everybody who comes back to the United States has to have either a U.S. passport or a driver's license which has a new kind of code embedded in it. But I don't have either. Greetings, fellow citizens of the world. I'm Gary Davis, and I'm sitting here in about 2 miles from something called a frontier, which is false because there are no frontiers. The sun is on the other side, the sun is on this side, the wind goes freely and so forth. I was in Europe flying a B-17 in World War II. I figured it out that I didn't want to play that game anymore. Along came the bombing of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, and I said, that's it. We can't afford war. I'm not a national citizen. I'm stateless. I gave up being a national citizen when I was 26 years old. I'm a legitimate world citizen, as I hope you are. What does that mean? It means that you have the right to claim your own political allegiance in this world. It's one world we live in, whether we like it or not. And you're a human being. You come out of your mother's womb into the world. And this idea of nation states is totally dysfunctional. It's a carryover from another age. Prevents us from recognizing ourselves legally as world citizens. But what they did was, in 1948, they came out with the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. And that declaration says all human beings are born free and equal in dignity and rights. And they're endowed with reason and conscience and should act towards one another as a spirit of brotherhood. Well, everybody on that side of that house and everybody on this side, that means we are all brothers and human beings on the same level. The reason I'm here is because I just attended a conference in Montreal. The document that I'm going to be using when I come to this frontier, this fictional frontier, is this right here. It's called a World Passport. And it's based upon an article in the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. That article says everyone has the right to leave any country, including his own, and to return to his country. It's a very interesting word, country, because it's not state, it's not nation. Country, what's a country? Tom Paine said, my country is the world. This passport is going to be presented to these guys on the frontier, these Homeland Security guys, as I've done many times in the past. I live in South Burlington, Vermont, right next to the airport. So what are they going to do with me? Well, they might say, Gary, we're going to parole you into the United States. I say, no, you're not. I don't admit to being a parolee. A parolee means that you're a criminal. You've been paroled out of prison. Well, Canada's not a prison, and I'm not a criminal, so what else have you got? They haven't got anything else. They cannot send me back here because I won't go back. And they can't put me in prison because there's nothing, what have I done? There's no crime here. I'm not in the United States. And they know I live in South Burlington, Vermont. I have a house there, etc. So they say, well, we got to let you go, which is very, very interesting because that means that I'm not in their book. They can make their laws a restriction, and yet as a legitimate world citizen, I'm not within that framework, etc. And that's the same for you too. But you have to claim to be world citizens. And that claim is your legitimate right. You have the right to identify yourself in this world. And that's what you really are. This is the whole way of making peace, because we make peace between ourselves. Nations can't make peace with each other. Nations are divisive. Nations pretend that there's international law and so forth, but they perpetuate a condition which is anarchic. So we're going up here. We'll continue this tape and show you what happened after we get through this frontier, because there's nothing they can do about me and the World Passport, because I'm just not in their book. Hello.
Where do you all live?
I live in South Burlington, right next to the airport.
Hand me that passport. What else you got for ID besides this?
Oh, driver's license.
You got a passport?
That is a passport. Foreign government passport.
Government of world citizens?
Obama's got one. Your president's got one.
Oh, Mr. Davis, how you doing there?
Hey, I got a tea time at 3 o'clock. I don't want to be held up.
Okay.
Okay. You're all set. Have a
Thank
good
you.
day.
Bye-bye. I got through with no other ID than the world passport. It all took about 2 minutes, and then it was finished. And she said, "Okay," handed the passports back and says, "You're okay." They just passed a new travel initiative on June 1st, and we were wondering whether that would have any effect on the efficacy of the world passport. Not only did it not have any effect, but it's the first time that I haven't been called in to the office for them to to go to their computer and make some kind of notation. And the upshot of this is, of course, is what I've always known, is that the citizen is sovereign, but you have to claim that sovereignty and learn your rights, because if you don't know your rights, you can't claim them. So this is the reality. The reality is that the world is one, and this passport represents one world. And I've been traveling with it ever since 1948.